Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We got everybody stealing everything and nobody protect us or stop them. Welcome to modern America. Theft is on the rise, nobody's enforcing crime, and the criminals know it. The problem is exactly that. And John, to really articulate something to kind of be the bedrock of the conversation, when I was in law school, I had a professor who is the Attorney General for the Cayman Islands. And one of the things he taught me, he did criminal law. And the one thing that he emphasized that was really impressioned upon me was that when he worked with the criminal units, an internal police policy can be created. Like, hey guys, we're not going to be pulling people over for taillights for right now, or whatever internal policy only the police know. He goes, you'd be amazed how quick the streets know. They know almost instantly. It's not like they're getting some sort of feed or there's some kind of mole in the police that's informing them. There's just something intrinsic that the streets just know. And so I want to propose that there's a severe problem to when we all start making it pretty unspoken rule that we're not enforcing petty crime, and that snowballs into really we're not going to enforce real crime anywhere, especially in big cities. One thing I learned from a great educator is that the streets know, and they're going to act upon it. Now, Americans are more likely now than at any time over the past 5 decades to say there is more crime in their local area than there were years ago. The 56% of U.S. adults who report an increase in crime where they live marks a 5% point uptick since last year and is the highest by 2 points in Gallup's trend dating back to 1972. We really started seeing this decline when following the symptoms of the pandemic. October 2021, the pharmacy chain of Walgreens announced that it will close 5 of its stores in San Francisco, citing theft and retail crime as the main motivator behind its decisions. You had people robbing a Walgreens blind, walking out of the Walgreens, going not even half a block, it's on the same block, putting all of the stuff they stole from Walgreens along the sidewalk, selling it. The Band-Aids, the Gatorades, they just robbed Walgreens, walked outside, and then sold it. And now Walgreens is not in San Francisco. When we decide to pick and choose where and when laws would be enforced, a message was sent out to the public. And the message was to see how far they could test that limit. Senator Joni Ernst, a Republican from Iowa, is calling out the Biden administration and Democrats for picking and choosing which laws to enforce, especially at the southern border. In a speech on the Senate floor, Ernst told Democrats, "Our laws are not a buffet," and continued her call for the Biden administration to allow states to build the southern border wall with materials that are lying dormant and costing taxpayers through her Build It Act. Biden's indifference towards enforcing our federal immigration laws sends the message that America's laws don't matter. Cartels and criminals are taking full advantage, she further explains. Theft and robberies in major cities increased by 20% in the first half of 2022, according to the New York Times. Examining crime data from Baltimore, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City, Philadelphia, Seattle, and Washington, D.C., they found violent crimes have increased anywhere from nearly 5% to up to 40% compared to the same time frame in 2021. Violent crimes are typically defined as reports of rape, sexual assault, robbery, assault, and murder. Violent crimes have reached unprecedented numbers in the last 2 years, with murders increasing by nearly 30% in 2020 compared to 2019, according to the FBI data. By 2021, homicides continued to rise in major American cities across the country, with the Council and Criminal Justice releasing data in January showing 5% increase in homicides compared to 2020's widely bloody year. Astonishing. So, John, I got to ask, as we kind of flush this out, I'm seeing crime is increasing and the enforcement of such crime is totally going away alongside it. What else do you see as we flush out this problem?
As you were talking, I notated to myself and I started to put some pieces together. If you ever seen any movie, the villain often creates the problem so that they can offer their solution. So if we have an
You
increase,
know our government.
so if we have an increased, yeah, so we have an increased theft issue. Um, okay, so what if it's increased theft because of these policies? Just it's a slap on the wrist now. So yes, if you do that, you're going to increase theft and you're going to increase drama. Crime is going to go up. Could this be grooming people for something similar to a universal basic income? Could it be a selling point for autonomous stores? So, hey, you know what? They're stealing it anyways. Why don't we chip everybody? Why don't we make everything autonomous and push a digital ID? Why don't we increase surveillance because everybody's stealing everything? You know, if we have all these things in place, similar to what China has, where everything is surveillance, you can be, it's for your safety. It's for your safety. That's the problem.
I think you found something, John.
I think I did.
I think we need to get to solutions.
Yes, let's go.
In such a situation, there are several steps that can be taken to restore law and order. 5 of them to be exact. 1. Reinforce the rule of law. 2. Strengthen law enforcement. 3. Promote community engagement. 4. Address underlying issues. 5. Promote restorative justice. Reinforce the rule of law. The rule of law is the principle that all individuals and institutions are subject to and accountable to law that is fairly applied and enforced. Reinforcing the rule of law requires ensuring that the legal system is impartial, transparent, and accountable, and that it is capable of enforcing law and protecting its citizens' rights. Secondly, strengthen law enforcement. Strengthening law enforcement requires investing in the police, not defunding them, and other law enforcement agencies, providing them with the resources and training they need to effectively carry out their duties. This may involve increasing the number of police officers, improving their training, and enhancing their technological capabilities. If this is something that I'm going to advocate for, I really want to emphasize that with something like this, it should also parallel the hiring of standards for these officers. You know, I always said it was wild that if I failed law school, I could still become a police officer. And that meant it was easier for me to be the law versus being able to defend myself from the law. So if we're going to allow people to be the law, the standard should be as high as SEALs. Like, this shouldn't be just, regular people stuff. So I think if we're going to increase the funding we give to law enforcement and all the training and ability and capabilities and enhancements that surround them, we also need to increase that standard. 3. Promote community engagement. Community engagement is essential in ensuring that the police are able to effectively police the community. This may involve creating community policing programs that involve residents in the policing of their neighborhoods or promoting partnerships between law enforcement and community organizations. I think this is really great. I think a lot of these come in the form of political charades, and so because of that, they really don't get anything done. It's mostly, Democrat politicians patting themselves on the back, and at the end of the day, it's just a show, and that doesn't do anything for us, and it also discourages people from thinking that this is actually a viable avenue. So I think taken seriously and really kind of pumped through the blood of the community, it can actually have a positive impact. Fourthly, address underlying issues. Crime and violence often have underlying social and economic causes, such as poverty, inequality, and social exclusion. Addressing the underlying issues requires investing in education, healthcare, and social services, while also creating economic opportunities for all. This is something that we hear a lot about, but I don't think because the conversation is so compromised in politics, we don't actually get to have real healthy conversations about, say, social services or investing in education. And fifthly and finally, promote restorative justice. Restorative justice is an approach to justice that focuses on repairing harm caused by crime rather than punishing the offender. Promoting restorative justice may involve creating alternative justice systems that involve victims, offenders, and the community in the resolution of these crimes. Overall, restoring law and order in a society that has stopped policing its laws requires a comprehensive approach that involves addressing underlying issues, strengthening law enforcement, promoting community engagement, and reinforcing the rule of law. So, on a reasonable and manageable level, the least we could do to get the ball rolling is to promote a real and positive conversation on the matter. John, what solutions do you have to suggest for us?
When it comes to solutions, I mean, when it comes down to it, if you're going the route that I went, which was it's actually a cell for increased surveillance. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of any hidden laws to increase surveillance. You have that TikTok ban, which is not really a TikTok ban, and it's literally giving the administration more power to control what is going on online. It's one of those things where they're just providing the problem and the solution. It's the same people, in my opinion. It's the same people. So think in that direction instead of being triggered by the problem, because now you would be technically part of the problem and you would be one of the people that people are like, see, people like that. It's like, no. Think about it as, okay, so if you think ahead and if you know the agenda, if you know the plan, then you can plan accordingly. You can act accordingly. Work against these, the slap on the wrist. Be mindful of the fact that yes, we are going through an economic crisis. There are more people that are strapped for cash, so to speak, even though that cash isn't going to be worth diddly, right? Be mindful of that and just act accordingly. As far as solutions, is more of my solution is more of a mentality, so that you change the lenses and you start to see alternative ways to deal with the current situation. Specifics, I don't have any specifics right now because everything is just happening. If I were to say anything specific, again, going back to in other episodes, I say get with your community, be active in your local community, be aware of any laws that are being posted up as a for your safety, and really, get together, find someone that knows how to read the law and is looking at it, and just find ways to kind of contribute to fighting back.
I love that. My final consideration is going to be this. What is laws in a free society? If it's free in its totality, well, then you're living in anarchy, right? So in a free civilized society, things are mostly free, but there's some things that you give away your freedom for safety and security, right? So you don't have to wear a seatbelt, but you live in a society that makes you wear a seatbelt because, hey, for safety, and at the end of the day, this is the same entity that's preventing people from breaking into my house. Or I don't have to feel like I might get murdered on my way to the supermarket because I gave a little bit, it's called the social contract, I gave a little bit of my rights and resources away to get some other safeties and securities. So these rules, these laws, what are they besides a common understanding amongst your society of rules and limitations to play ball? If you want to be in on the game, if you want to be a part of the group, you got to abide by these rules. So what do you do when you live in a society? We all sit back and agree on rules. Okay, nobody can steal Band-Aids from CVS. Or again, you can own a business, open up shop and open your doors to strangers in the public, and we're going to say you can't discriminate or turn away anybody. Well, you can open your doors to strangers under the guise of knowing and security of knowing that those people aren't allowed to rob you blind or take your stuff without paying for it. So upon the point where you've made this agreement and strangers get to come into your place and they just start grabbing your stuff and looting and running, well, what do? You're sitting there, you're like, hey, the people you call, excuse me, 911, what's your emergency? My emergency is they left with all the Band-Aids. And the guy on the other end's like, sucks to suck, and hangs up. At that point, what do we do? Again, I gave a lot of great real concrete approaches on a societal level. But you as an individual, what are you going to do in that situation? I want to cut to a lady who's truly taking the movement and just grabbing that flag and running. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones that empower our government. So the police, these entities, they only have influence over us because we give them that. The point at which they fail to do that, well, I guess, just like the reason we have our Second Amendment, it's up to us to take the charge and grab control. So this lady got tired of living in Portland and watching all the blue-haired folks just walk out of her store. And what's comical is she's larger and physically strong. So she just starts stopping these people. She's grabbing their purse and she's like, dump it out. I'm not letting you leave. And these people are in blind shock. You can't do that. You're breaking the law. Because these criminals, like I said at the beginning, they know that the law is you can't stop me. Store clerks aren't allowed to stop me. You're breaking the law. It's like, wait. You're offended at me breaking the law, stopping you breaking the law? Let's cut to a clip.
These are the time limitations to deal with this, so take everything out of your bag and put it on there now.
Okay.
And get out.
Yes, sir.
Seriously, everything.
Okay, calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down. Do you have anything in your bag?
What bag?
In your purse? You have
I
nothing?
do not have nothing.
Like those kinds of things? Yeah, just dump it out. It's empty. Are you joking?
I have stuff in there too.
Your whole purse is full of this stuff. You think I wasn't gonna? No.
You're touching me. You just ripped my jacket.
The
Ow.
stuff.
What? Oh my God, get off me. You ripped
Hey,
my
I
jacket.
don't care.
You're assaulting me.
Give me the bag.
Hey, you're assaulting her. You're assaulting me.
I'm calling
Stop.
Jon.
Ow.
Call him right now. Call him right now.
Oh my God, you ripped my bag. Hey.
Stop. Get out.
Oh, don't hurt me.
Get
Please
out.
don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. I'll pour it out. Please stop hurting me.
Call the police.
Please stop hurting me. I'll
Instead
pour
of
it out.
recording me, call the police.
I'll pour it out. Please, you ripped my jacket. I'll pour it out. Please,
Dump it out right now.
I will. Just don't
I'm
hurt me.
not letting go.
I will pour it out.
I'm not
Please.
letting go. Dump it out.
Please stop hurting me. I'm dumping it out. Can I get my fucking... Oh my God, what are you doing?
Pick up what's yours and leave.
This is not okay.
Yeah, you know what else is not okay? Stealing from us.
Yeah, I know that, but
Yeah.
I think that, but you don't have to
Lesson
hurt me.
learned, right? Probably not.
Lesson learned. Let's call the cops.
Call him.
Call him now.
Seriously.
Yeah, call him.
Call 911.
She just assaulted me.
Yeah, well, I didn't shot
You assaulted me.
I didn't assault you.
You ripped my jacket. You assaulted me.
Good.
You assaulted me.
That's a major 11. Whatever, out.
All right, we're
Give me
leaving.
the stuff now.
Fine.
You don't have to be rude to me.
We're
Give
gonna
me
leave.
this.
We're gonna
Let
leave.
me see your bag.
That's it. That's all I got. I'm going.
Yeah, what else do you have? Do you have a pen?
Danny,
What'd you put in your pocket the first time?
Guys, come, Danny.
Bye. You just leave the charger. Disinfect it. Let's go. Take it out of your purse and get out. Seriously, the pens, everything. Do you have anything in your bag? Okay, take the pens out of your purse. I have you on camera. They're gel pens. You did it right in the aisle. You guys have to put all this shit down so that I know you're not buying any of it.
I was buying.
Okay, give me the rest of it.
This is it.
Give me the rest of whatever's in your purse. Let me see.
Thank you.
Do you have anything in your bag?
God.
God, what are you saying God for? Don't put crap in your
I
purse.
have tons of stuff.
Okay.
You don't even stop to ask any questions.
I don't care.
You just
You don't
automatically
put stuff in
assume.
your purse if you're gonna buy it.
I have a handful of shit in no
You
cart.
have baskets.
I'm
Bye. Get out.
Fine.
Trash.
That was rude.
Okay, I'm gonna give you two choices. You can either give me the stuff that's in your bag, or I can have a booth outside to get it out. So I'm gonna do everything out. I know what you have. I've been watching on camera. Okay. So just dump it out all on there. Do you have anything in your pocket? I'm not the one who stole stuff. So just put it fine. But I'm not making a switch. Just put it down. I'm not yelling.
She's not yelling, honey. Just
Okay.
finish.
But yes, I'm going to do that, yes.
Is it more embarrassing than the fact that you're shopping? Like, I don't know. Just get it out of your purse.
Are we having a conversation
Go.
or are we okay?
You're telling me to chill?
No.
Are you joking right now?
No, I'm not joking.
Take it out.
I'm getting anxiety and I
Okay.
want to take it out, but you keep talking.
Take
so
it
I'm
out.
just going to take it out. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm just really nervous.
Okay, go, take it out.
I'm continuing to take it out.
Okay, then stop talking and just do it.
It'll be easier that way. It'll be way easier.
It would be easier if you just didn't come in here all of that.
For sure, I won't.
Okay, yeah, because you can't.
Okay.
So this lady is really doing an honorable fight for all of us. And I think at the point at which you find yourself in her position, which most of us are slowly becoming that person, well, it's up to you to step up to the call of action and stand your ground. That way, we can all do it in a united fashion and take back our law and order. If they ain't going to do it, we'll do it ourselves. That's kind of my position on the individual level. At the end of the day, I want a judge to look me deadpan in the face and say, I was wrong for living in a society that's allowing people to steal from me, and I stood up to stop the stealing. Now, I'm not saying that allows you to use any excessive force, no deadly force, no intrusive, physical force, but again, I'm holding on to your purse until you dump it out. And once these people wake up to the fact of like, oh wait, now they don't like confrontation. Oh wait, I'm going to be confronted. I'm not doing it. That's what stopped people from doing it 30 years ago. So maybe we need to get back to it.
I do have an idea.
Let's hear it.
I know that like the body's nervous system is pretty well mapped out, and you can trigger certain things that happen. If you had, it may be gross, but it's an idea, and people get embarrassed very easily. If you have a stick that's like electrically charged with a certain frequency, you tap them and they have instant diarrhea. One, they'll be embarrassed. Two, they can't run away because they're full of shit. and then you can smell the trail. You can smell the trail.
Did you just invent a new comic book weapon?
Hey, you know what? I think we are pretty inventive as a people. We have AI, just like, what is the frequency? Like, let's figure this one out. Like, we need a diarrhea stick. Bap, that's it. You didn't hurt them. It's their own body that's deceiving them at this point. And guess what? It's for their safety. So I think it's a good idea.
I think that's a fun
I'm actually
idea,
seriously thinking of doing it.
But I do want to emphasize the position of standing your ground in a world where laws aren't being enforced. Really need to tread lightly when stepping over the line of like physical intervention. So like me, I think I don't want to give legal advice on this thing, so I'm just treading lightly on, I think, because again, if I were to spit on you, that's assault. So like touching you with a wand, even if it's just a touch of the wand, it's a touch of a wand that made me shart. At which point, like, that's an assault.
What about the doorknob? You can pull it, press a button, and then it's, hey, you're welcome to leave. Go right ahead. Just
and
know
it's
that.
Locked. Again, this is that gray area. So the scary part is I was kind of advocating of a position of like, be Judge Dredd and like be the law. It's like, yeah, when you start locking the door, you start entering the realm of, false imprisonment. And that's an easy standard for them to prove. And the last thing you want to do is you reinforce justice and they got away with it and you got financially hit because they got a good lawyer or, the system's twisted and you live in Portland. Like, It's a very tight line. But man, this lady on TikTok's got tons and tons of videos and no one's stepping in. So I'm not saying jack a blue-haired lady across the face, but like do kind of what she did and like grabbing the purse and holding it. Like, no, dump the purse out and then you'll get to leave. And then again, that lady still left with her person and her items, like her personal items. So there was no additional theft. It was more of like a coerced way of forcing them to not break the law. So I would just be very careful of crossing any of those lines. Physically assaulting them in any way, overstepping the bounds of taking anything of theirs, and false imprisonment. Those types of things I'd be kind of worried about. But also, if you aren't enforcing the laws, I'm gonna. So I'm annoyed and I'm tired of this. So I take it on balance. I don't own a store, so nobody's stealing from me. This is for your consideration.
Yeah. What if I put up a sign that says, if you decide to steal anything, that's fine. Just know that if you're walking into here in this facility, that you're okay with getting touched with a diarrhea stick.
You'd got to be worried about notice. So how much diarrhea stick postage all over the store do you have to have before there's good enough I think they would need to, because it's an assault, I think you would need a written release of liability. So
Really?
you
They
can come
have
into
to
my
sign it.
store, you're just going to sign this paper for the diarrhea wand. 90% of you aren't getting touched, but that guy looks sketchy.
I really like my idea, but there are rules, and I get it.
Listen, man, the next time you open up a DC comic book, you're going to see John's idea. I'm telling you.
It's gonna be on
Captain
the big
Farts
screen.
and his diarrhea wand.
Did you say Captain Farts?
Anyway, guys, if we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best thing you can do to support this show is share that link. If you laughed or enjoyed this episode, we know someone you know has got to. So it's this free content. The best thing you can do to share it, just support us, is share that link. Copy it, post it on your Facebook, copy it, text it to your friends, whatever you could do. That's the best thing. Otherwise, Fadangle the like button, smash the subscribe. I want to know the statistics of how many people were told to smash the subscribe button. They were like, oh, no, I'm going to smash. Clunk. And then, while you're up there, dangle that notification bell so you don't miss another Rethink Solutions. Otherwise, guys, you can find all of our content at www.rethinkthinkpodcast.com. And John, where can they find you?
newagehuman.com and on Instagram as New Age Human Show or Jon Astacio.
Awesome. Guys, you can catch me across the social medias on Instagram and TikTok and the others at Grgat57. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.
Diarrhea stick.